from the Weatherology Weather Center. Daytime highs approaching 68 today under overcast skies with a chance of thunderstorms. Winds out of the northeast, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected again tonight. Chance of thunderstorms. Lows dip down to about 55. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow. Chance of thunderstorms. Daytime highs approaching 68. Low 70s Saturday with a chance of thunderstorms. Turning much warmer Sunday with highs in the low 80s. Chance for storms continues. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 87 Monday, 91 Tuesday, and 93 on Wednesday. Get up-to-the-minute weather updates from the Weatherology Weather Center. I'm staff meteorologist Paul Trombley on this NWKS radio station. Currently 65.
At Lowe's, we know how to save pros time and money. Save 20% on 1-gallon cans and 5-gallon pails of Valspar Defense or Cabot Stain. Plus, save 15% on your choice of 6 or more Purdy items. And get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 8/21. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See store at Lowes.com for details. Must be single receipt purchase. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowes.com/same-day delivery for details.
Wherever I travel, I've learned that local knowledge is key to a great journey. But so is knowing the language. And that's where Rosetta Stone comes in. They're now offering a lifetime membership to all 25 of their languages. You can dabble in French, try a little German, learn Japanese or Swedish, and you can now get 50% off Rosetta Stone's lifetime unlimited subscription. Visit rosettastone.com/radio today to purchase and then learn for life. That's rosettastone.com/radio.
In recent months, some people looking for Midwest Energy on Google have reported sponsored ads pop up with different phone numbers, connecting them to scammers. When online, always look closely at links and phone numbers before clicking or calling. Midwest Energy's only phone number is 1-800-222-3121. Any other number, and it's likely a scam. Midwest Energy, a customer-owned cooperative, making energy work for you.
The Northwest Kansas District Free Fair continues to roll along at the Sherman County Fairgrounds in Goodland. Tonight, taking some great cowboying with the Ranch Rodeo that gets going at 6:30 at the Horse Arena. Friday night, see all the smashing and crashing with the Goodland Kiwanis Demo Derby at 7:30. And of course, the Midway is continuing to buzz with live music each and every night, as well as the Home-Owned Carnival. Plus tons of great food all day long in and around the 4-H building. It's the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair going on now in North Goodland.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery ingestion and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
Are you in search of a new pickup? Well, why not trust the team at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas, as they currently have great deals on all kinds of trucks. Get yourself into a 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 pickup with 5.9% APR plus $3,250 purchase allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle. Or get a 2024 GMC Sierra 2500 pickup with 5.9% for 84 months. As always, go to hurlchev.com to schedule any service or check out what's on the lot, or just stop on by in South Goodland.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Med Enterprises, LLC, your fire extinguisher sales and service folk. We're talking Scott and Tanya Jarrett, the owners, specializing in commercial agribusiness portable fire extinguisher service and repairs. And they service most makes and models of extinguishers, and they can perform most repairs and services on site, and they carry new extinguishers for sale too. Call Med Enterprises 785-899-6320 for all your commercial, ag, farm, and home annual certifications, repairs, and maintenance.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4! It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Being a fan of Nebraska football and watching this team the last few years, I kind of compare it to like eating Taco Bell. You know you shouldn't do it, but it feels good in the moment. Then you end up regretting it a day later.
And Christian Peck-Dimit.
I'm a cheap, illegitimate child at heart, but not that I'm illegitimate.
The region's only local sports talk.
Oh, no, not these guys again.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5, simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Oh, God, they're everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
It's been a long, long time. But the Goodland Cowboys are going to play for a state title.
To the pros.
Touch of all time, the Grand Tour, Michael Tolia.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
And a ground ball hit to McMahon. Diving grab. Comes up. Fires to first to get the out. Another outstanding defensive play at third base by Ryan McMahon.
High fly ball. Deep center field. Meadows is there. Parker Meadows thieves a home run from Raleigh.
The 0-1. Fastball lifted high in the air, deep to right field. Refsnyder to the track. It's gone. Stay hot, Vinny Pasquantino. He drills a 2-run homer. His 17th home run of the season. And it's now 7-4 Royals in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Quincy Hall is coming back. Quincy Hall is digging deep. Quincy Hall is running past all of them. Can he get there? He does. It's gone for the USA. Quincy Hall with the most epic comeback.
Man, why not just make it 2 days in a row with unbelievable comebacks in the Olympics? My goodness, I'm telling you, distance running is the place to be, folks. You need to watch that distance running. That's where you need to go.
You counting 400 as distance then?
Right. For me, it would be.
At this point, it probably would be for me, too.
Anything over 100-meter dash, yes, that seems like... No, I would say anything over 200 probably would be... Full lap is a full lap on the track. I mean, it's a ways to go. It's a ways. Especially it feels like if you start in the outer lanes. I mean, didn't you feel like if you were like out in lane 8, I know you were a distance guy, so everybody, if you ever, and I did anything from the mile down to the 100 when I was in high school. They didn't know where to put me. And that's probably.
He's too talented.
No, he had no talent. That would be why. And so he tried, but he was unsuccessful. And anyway, you'd start in lane 8 and you're like, I'm out in front, and you'd run. And then before you got to that, you got through the first, 150 and it was over. It was done. You're like, I'm done. Why do I have to run further than everybody else? That was like the original thought. Like,
in theory, you're in lane 8, so you only have to run like 3.5 laps.
I know. 3.5.
3.5 meters is what it feels like, where you're not running a full lap. But it's so demoralizing because, yeah, you're right. You get past that second turn and everybody's caught up to you. And even though you're running the same speed, it feels like they're all passing you or getting up to your speed. And yeah, that can definitely get in your head. It did for me, but I'm very weak-minded. I would hope that the U.S. Olympians have a little bit more strength between the ears.
Anyway, Quincy Hall yesterday, just another amazing comeback. Him and Cole Hocker, you talk about, like, I think I said it yesterday, but you talk about digging deep. Those guys have got excavators and they are digging deep.
Quincy's might have been the best one, to be honest with you.
It was good. I mean, it was it doesn't matter. They were both great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They were impressive. It doesn't matter to dig that. I mean, there's the difference. They were in separate lanes with Quincy Hall. He was in a separate lane. He didn't have anybody from him. Cole Hocker got cut off. Literally did. They cut him off, and he had to slow up and then speed back up again in the last 100. That's hard. Quincy Hall just had to find another gear, shift her into the high hole, and then took it down the stretch. That was great. That's
all I'm saying.
High entertainment there.
You get to that last 100 meters, Quincy and Cole, they knew the 400, the 1500, they needed a little bit of freedom in them. They saw some oil at the deadline. They're like, all right, we got to get there first. Come on now. Represent the USA, baby.
For the second straight day, we're talking about one of the great comebacks in just the great comebacks in racing.
What even is a kilometer?
Right. What is a kilometer? I hate that. Oh, what a great jump. 13 kilometers. What is that? I don't know what that is.
Petition to change the 400 meter to the 1547
it brings us that Nate Bargatze skit where he's sitting around the campfire with a bunch of soldiers from the Revolutionary War, and we're gonna do our own thing. I just think about that the whole time. We have no idea.
No, it will be 8,200.
You're there sitting with your phone with Google Calculate. All right, kilometers to feet.
I vote that Quincy Hall has earned us a petition to change it from the 400 meter dash to the whatever it would be 1,560 foot dash.
Well,
We've earned that much.
The 400 meter, okay, fine, I get that. But how about like the 1,500 meter and the 1,600 meter? I mean,
technically 1,600 meters isn't quite a full mile.
Yeah, I know. So
it's no fun. They're making it confusing on purpose. I think that's the case.
Very much so. Hey, good morning, everybody. Glad you're with us here on the Morning Blitz. Yes, it is. I tell you, you talk about a beautiful morning. It is outside, cloud cover and cool. I love this type of weather.
It's beautiful
I love
over there.
Oh man, it's cloudy, overcast, cool from a nice rain. I had 40 points in my rain gauge, 40 hundredths, any way you want to put it. Our good friend of the show, Paul Heskett, good friend of everybody, pretty much.
Yeah, really.
Sending in some rain reports, almost over 2.5 inches in Winona, 1.50 inch in Park, and 1.45 inch in Oakley. And as Paul Heskett described it, beautiful. That's how he described it. Beautiful.
Side note on Paul, by the way, I was out at the Sherman County Fair Saturday night with Paul working one of the carnival events, and just walking anywhere within
he's a celebrity.
Like a 50-mile radius of the KXXX studios with Paul. He's pushing people aside to get to wherever he's got to go.
I don't even think it's 50 miles. I bet if you went further, I think 100 miles. 100 miles at the KXXX studio. Everybody knows who Paul is. He's great, and he loves the people, and they love him. There you go. It's simpatico with those two. Thank you to Rob. Shout out to Rob, listening from Weston, America. 62 points. 62. So yeah, we'll try to do the best we can to carry on the tradition of Curtis Duncan and the rainfall. So if you want to text into the FB Bank text line 785-899-2222, tell us your rain reports. We'll pass those along as the day goes along. Also, Jared is already on the FB Bank text line. He's excited for basketball today with the Serbians and America. He's going with Serbia because of Jokic.
No.
He's polling for them. I'm not saying he's predicting the win. He's polling for them. You can tell.
I hate to tell you, Jared, and I know he's very confident. He says, "Go Serbia" in all caps. Beat the NBA with
Joker rules.
The Serbian head coach said yesterday that this year's Team USA is the best national team ever, and this is a man who coached against the Dream Team in 1992. So. I hate to tell you, but even your own man is going against you there.
Well, and once again, you have to consider that this is probably I don't want to say it is, but it certainly could be, when it's all said and done, the most talented U.S. men's basketball team. Because if they win convincingly in this Olympics, they're facing probably the toughest field that any U.S. team has faced because of the number of players that are now playing in the NBA from around the world. And they're playing for their home teams. Like, for example, Joker there with Serbia, and even though he's not in the tournament, but Giannis for Greece. I mean, they're all over
Germany's
the
whole starting lineup is
Schroeder,
yes, the Wagners, Daniel Tice, Wagner.
Yes, there we go. So yes, lots. Where they don't have a lot of great basketball? Great Britain.
That's a great point. Actually, I don't even know if they have a team.
You think they'd have a team. Don't get me wrong. Now, no, once again, you wouldn't want to face, the UK probably in soccer or football. You wouldn't want to do that. But I don't think they have much for great. But you think about it. Australia, the US, France is very good. I don't know if you want to throw Serbia in there. I mean, they're this far in the tournament, so I guess we need to give them some love.
They're here. They're top 10 in the nation. Top 4
Canada,
in the country, rather.
Canada's very good. So, yeah.
Germany.
Germany. There you go.
Ooh, see, pulling up the accents.
Yeah, I don't know.
Slovenia.
My mother-in-law would probably say that is not a German accent, but yeah. So my mother-in-law and my wife can both speak German pretty well. So
there you go.
I remember when we were first dating and they were talking German, like, I know they're saying something about me. I know they're saying something.
They're talking about me.
They're talking about me behind my back.
My big fat Greek wedding where they're all just talking at him.
That's your life story, isn't it?
That's if anyone out there has seen the My Big Fat Greek Wedding 785 899
Most people have seen that.
Well, no, I'm saying if you're Greek and you've seen that, it's
if you're
way too
Greek,
true.
that might
It's
cut
way
down the
too
deal.
true.
Dumb movie.
It's a little bit closer to reality than I think most Greeks would like to admit. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, it's saying it's pretty realistic.
No,
I don't know.
it's
Have you ever used Windex to get rid of any acne?
Not that part.
This show is off to a great start.
It is,
We are
it
all
is.
over the world.
And by off, he means off the rails.
Oh, it's way off the rails. Today's program, we'll get to the Royals and the Rockies. The Royals able to salvage a game with the Red Sox. That was much needed, to be honest with you. They really needed that. And they needed some big-time heroics from, of course, Bobby Witt Jr. to get it done. He was unbelievable yesterday. I have a question for the listening audience and for Christian in segment number 2. How I word it will hopefully come out better than how I worded it yesterday to Christian because I don't know how to really word it. But this is how I'm going to word it. We may have to change it as we get closer, but this is coming up in segment 2. Would you rather break the rules and for sure win a championship or keep your integrity and possibly win one? Okay, I know that question is a little bit weird, but I'm trying to we've seen Michigan here recently break the rules, win a title. This also stems from Kentucky football had their best year in, 40 years a few years ago, but it's come to find out that 11 of the players on the team were getting paid without doing any sort of work. They had jobs, but they didn't have to show up for them and got paid. So
pre-NIL,
pre-NIL, that's correct. Yeah,
college football player in America would work a security desk job,
right?
Where they sat at a desk and played on their phone for 2 hours and they got $70 an hour or something stupid.
Now, anyway, that's my point is, would you rather, which one of those would you rather have? Do you have the moral fortitude of I'd rather win it, struggle and win it right than cheat and win it all? So anyway, we'll get to that. But anyway, Christian wants to get the first segment rolling this morning, talking about what's been happening in NFL joint practices, as there's been some hot under the collar, some tension, to say the least, in NFL joint practice, which this is not the first year that this has happened.
No.
With fights and stuff. Do you think this is a bad idea to have joint practices? He wants to know if joint practices are a good idea. There was a deal with a guy that was punching with a helmet on, which more on that in just a minute. But, what are your thoughts on the joint practices, at least? Because I feel like you might be against these.
I like the theory of them, and I did a little bit of research for this, and we'll get to it in a second here, but I found the history and the original start really of, or the rise of joint practices. Joint practices have been going on for, a century, but really they started picking up big time in 2013, 2014, and we'll get to that in a second here. But yeah, there have been a ton of fights recently. The Jets weren't even at a joint practice. They were practicing amongst themselves on Tuesday and got into 3 separate fights on the same day, so much that Rob Saleh had to stop practice and talk to his team because they're all idiots, I guess. And he famously doesn't like doing joint practices on back-to-back days. He only has 1 day of them. That's today, so maybe we'll get even more to talk about for tomorrow. There was, of course, the Lions and Giants, which is now infamous because they had multiple fights on 2 separate days, so much so that yesterday, about middle of the day, the NFL decides to fine both teams each $200,000. Those are, of course, massive fines, and clearly the NFL doesn't like the look. However, only hours after that, we got the story breaking that the Seahawks yesterday had, quote, multiple skirmishes throughout their practice, including a now infamous one where DK Metcalf took off his own helmet and swung it at a teammate, missed, and hit a different teammate on the head. Golly, we've got some idiots in the NFL, and I think you just have to look at the history of joint practices. It's been like this for a long time. In fact, I believe it was, let's find it here. I have it open on a tab. NBC LA, Channel 4, last year has a link where they tracked all of the joint practice fights in the NFL for the whole season. And let me tell you, this article is long. We have, this is from last year, July 22nd, the New York Jets. July 25th and 31st, the Lions. We have July 28th and 9th, the Chiefs. 29th again, the Panthers. Now we're on to July 30th, the Browns. 31st, the Niners. August 3rd, we've got the Titans. August 5th, we've got the Bears. August 9th, we've got the Packers. 11th, Saints, Texans, Ravens, Rams, and it keeps going on and on. Cowboys, Eagles, everybody gets into fights all the times. The Colts are the last team on this list. That is a long article with lots of different teams doing lots of different fighting. Are they just, I get the idea that it's an emotional game and you're putting it all out there and your body's on the line. And when you're practicing against these other teams, particularly, you're passionate and you're whatever, but control yourselves. You're adults. Like, in a work environment, and you're not even actually in a game. It's a practice, a joint practice.
Practice. We're talking about
We're talking about practice. Practice. I'm the MVP of the league.
I think
talk about practice. It's crazy.
Multiple things come into this play. I think one thing that we don't consider probably enough is it's the start of a long season. So you have a lot of guys who are amped up and juiced up to get going. There's nervous energy, things of that sort. There's also, I think, weather plays an impact in it, hot temperatures and, getting exhausted, not being in these situations for a while, I think probably play a little bit of a, you kind of lose your cool because you are not cool. I get what I'm saying. You're a little hot from, practicing out in the heat and, and this is a collision sport. And so you have to kind of play. And if you're any good, which, if you're in the NFL, you're the best of the best. You have to play with a type of, craziness to an extent to say, well, I'm going to go get in a car wreck every single time the ball is snapped. Something along a small car wreck.
Most of them want to get into car wrecks after the ball is snapped.
Yeah, we know.
We
know. Thank you, Rasheed. But yeah, I like you. I like the idea of the joint practices, and I think they're good because you need to have, as a coach and as a team, you need to see what you're doing is actually worth a darn in practice because you're doing it against yourselves all the time, and it's hard to get a good read on that. So let's go do a joint practice. And if you're going to cut the preseason short, which my guess is we're going to see less and less preseason games in the long term. We're going to, now we've gone from 4 in my lifetime down to 3 that I can remember. 4 preseason games down to 3. My guess is that'll get cut down to 2 or 1 before it's all set up because they're going to add more games on the back end. We're going to get a longer season. Regular season would be my guess. And so you're going to see more of these joint practices where you need to see what you like. I mean, look, we're doing it in high school. We're doing jamborees now, which I think are great. Think about it, we're getting together and playing, 4 schools coming together at a location. I think this year it's at Colby for our teams, I think.
Might be.
I think it is.
Got it on the
on the master schedule. I don't remember. But anyway, you're getting together these 4 schools that, might play each other, might not, but they're of the same size. They don't have to travel extremely far to get together and to face each other because you want to see if what we're doing in practice is actually going to amount to a hill of beans when the season comes. You want that. And so it's trickled all the way down from the professional level down here. The thing that gets me is the point where how dumb do you mean? It's just because you're mad. And so you think you got to throw fists. You got to do something. You got to chuck the helmet. You lose your cool. because you're in an uncool state. And that to me is I just remember I used to watch these VHS. I have these tapes. I don't know. I think we still have them. I don't have them. My mom and dad do, but they used to be VHS tapes. Tells you how old they were, of the 1994 and 95 national championships for when Nebraska won against Miami and Florida. And it was kind of like a documentary to an extent, but they would have, they had video cameras in the locker room during halftime. And Coach Tom Osborne would be like, again, the Miami game, he was like, you need to keep your cool. They're going to lose their cool at this point in time. So keep your cool. He goes, you can't hurt anybody with all this equipment on. You can't hurt anybody. You're only going to hurt yourself. That's the thing. You want to throw a fist at a guy with a helmet? Fine. You're going to end up probably breaking your hand. Just like that dumb pitcher who swung and what did he hit? Broke his hand on the back wall of the dugout for the Cubs, right? I think it was the Cubs pitcher. I mean, you're only going to hurt yourself. But it's hard to turn it off in an instance. Like, we got to play crazy mad while for those 6 seconds that this play is going on, and then turn it off and then get ready to go back again. It's hard to do. And in particular, when you're hot and you're tired and you're wearing down, which you wear down a lot quicker in the preseason because you're not in the best of shape yet. You're still working your way there. I get it. And like we said, things rubbing together cause friction. And right then that's kind of what's going on. So I get to me, it's just all part of it. It's all part of it, and we just have to accept it. You just hope that. And I think there's been videos of Mike Tomlin of the Steelers, watching guys getting in fights, and you see him light up. He's kind of like, yeah, that's what I need. I need that.
A little bit of passion.
A little bit of that, and then okay, that's enough. But I need, he'll let it go for about 5 seconds. All right, that's good. We're good. But we need that. We need that. Rubbing sticks together makes a fire, and we need that. So I don't have a problem with it.
Couple of side notes. One, yes, the high school football jamboree is in Colby. It's August 30th.
Who's all there?
Let's look. I
think it's Goodland, Colby. I'm guessing Norton.
It's Peaburg and Norton. Yeah.
Peaburg coming all the way over.
Crazy, right?
That's a trip.
And then the volleyball jamboree is in Scott City. That's on the 22nd.
Yeah.
But another side note, Ennis Cantor has also done that. I think it was slammed his hand on a chair on the bench and fractured his forearm.
Yeah, that sounds powerful slam.
Yeah, really. I mean, he's like 6'10" or whatever. That's a lot of body to huck at a chair. But quick little history note here. It was around 2014, 2013 when we saw this big rise. And it was, guess who? Bill Belichick, who spoke to it best, talking about these joint practices, this idea that, and it's more true now than ever, you can't do a whole lot in your own practices according to the CBA and all of these agreements where you don't want to put your guys in harm's way. For those of you that don't know, there's only a certain amount during practice and training camp that you can actually go pads on full speed. Half the time it's half speed, or it's just helmets and gloves, or it's 7-on-7. They don't get a lot of full speed.
It's shell work. I think it's shell or thud. Exactly. There's also a word called thud tackling in the business. A lot of thud work where, you can pretty much wrap up a guy and do everything but bring him to the ground.
Yeah. So it allows you to get more full speed contact because they're trying to keep the players safe. You get it. You understand it, where you have a lot less full contact throughout your training camp. But then if you want full contact, and like Ross said, you're not, especially with your starters, going to see a ton of it during the preseason. And even in the preseason, Belichick points this out in this quote from a decade ago. Hey, during a preseason game, especially with my first teamers, I might see 4, 5, 6 red zone plays out of my offense. If I go run a joint practice, I can see 20 of them in the span of a half hour get live against another team. That's exactly what you want.
And let's look at it this way too. And I think this is a forgotten thing in football because of this concern of injuries happening. This is a contact sport. This is a collision sport. If you're defensive, like I always look at it from a defensive side. If you're a defensive coordinator, and I'm gonna bring it back to more of the college game and more of the high school game, than the professional game, because you're professionals, you should be able to do this. But tackling, how do you practice tackling? By tackling, and not by tackling the donut or by the dummy robot, or by the tackling dummy that runs around on wheels. No, you don't do that. Sorry, high schools don't have that thing, but the pros do. But anyway, my point being, how do you practice? What is a very key component of the game, bringing another man down against his will. I mean, it's the truth. He doesn't want to go down. So how do you practice that without actually practicing it? And that is something that has hurt a lot of teams, not being physical in practice. And that's where, coaches are making at least in the upper divisions, not in high school, but that's where you kind of try to find the way to make your money, because how do we get our guys ready for these games? Because this is a game that requires tackling and blocking and physicality without putting our guys in harm's way. Because I don't care. Thud tackling is thud tackling. It's not real tackling. You're not bringing a guy to the ground. So, yeah, you got to see this stuff. You have to see it.
It makes sense. And then, to go off of Ross's point, if these kids didn't have helmets on, there are now multiple instances. Well, DK Metcalf used his helmet as a weapon, and that's not the first time that an NFL player has done that. We've seen it live in a game on TV. But these guys have a bad habit of punching other people with plastic and, if you include the face mask, metal helmets on. What are you doing?
Maybe I'll feel better with those Guardian caps on now, though.
Give me a little bit of soft cushion for my hands. What an idiot.
That's the real reason for the Guardian caps now. We're preventing hand injuries. If Malik Neighbors didn't have his helmet on, he'd be asleep right now. I mean, and that good for him, because getting pieced up by a much smaller Kirby Joseph in a fight that you started probably wouldn't have looked good. It still doesn't look good, but it speaks to, I think, the idiocy or the emotionality of these fights in general. When you go and punch a dude with ribbed metal on his face and that's all you're going to hit, and you're not actually going to hurt them at all, there's no logic there. There's no higher thinking there. It's just all emotion and in the moment. And on the one hand, you're in a work environment when it literally does not matter. It matters even less than the preseason, which it's hard to do. It's hard to get something that matters less than the preseason in there fighting over it. In a professional work environment as adults, you got to feel like an idiot for that. But on the other side of it, you're right. It does show you a little bit of care, that they actually do care, and you're getting, like Mike Tomlin, a little bit of a smile on your face when you see these guys go at it like that, show the passion. One more thought off the FB Bank text line before we get to break. Listener Andy, who did play college football, I know he's played football for 14 years. This is him, and most of the hated period was thud. Defense has to go full speed while not finishing full speed, and the offense drops shoulders and heads while running full speed. I hate thud.
It's not easy.
Not saying it's not easy, but that's my point. It's not easy to practice football. Mm-hmm. It's just not. But guess what? You have to do it. And sometimes these are the consequences. Well, consequences may not be the right word, but these are some of the things that happen because of it.
Sure.
So anyway, interesting. Yes, joint practices. I'm all for it. And you know what? We're going to have some fights, whatever. It's going to be fine. Just try and keep your cool and not break your hands or injure yourself.
That's the other thing.
Keep the helmets on your head and not in your hands.
Don't get injured during a joint practice for a preseason game. Come on. Be smarter than that.
That'd be better. Let's get to a break. We'll come back. Up next, would you rather cheat or bend the rules to win a championship, or is integrity more important than that for people? We'll get to that next here on the Morning Blitz.
Where is the best place to go to stream your favorite NWKS radio station? NWKSradio.net. Where should you go to find out what's happening in the area? NWKSradio.net. What's happening with local area sports? NWKSradio.net. Is the weather causing delays or cancellations? NWKSradio.net. Need tickets to the next big NWKS radio event? NWKSradio.net. The place to go to be in the know. NWKSradio.net.
At Nextech Wireless, you are in the driver's seat. With all the latest devices, the choice is yours. You pick between 18, 24, or 36-month terms and get your device on us. Next Tech Wireless. Home on the range.
Good morning. This is Kate Thompson with the Andersons Trade Group. Today is Thursday, August 8th. And on the overnights last night, September corn higher a quarter cent at 383.5. December up a half cent at 401 1/4. March up a half at 418.5. And May corn up a half at 429 3/4. Sep beans up 1.5 at 10:06. November up 2 1/4 at 10:21. January up 2 1/4 at 10:37. And March up 2.5 at 10:51 1/4. Chicago wheat, the September contract up 4.5 at 542 3/4. December up 4 1/4 at 566 1/4. March up 3.5 at 585 3/4, and May up 3 1/4 at 598. Kansas City wheat, the September contract higher 4.5 on the overnight at 560. December up 4 3/4 at 577. March up 4 1/4 at 591 1/4, and May hard wheat up 4.5 at $6. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up 158 at 39,063. The S&P up 43 at 5,270. The Nasdaq up 208 at 18,174. Gold higher $14.40 an ounce at 2,446. And crude oil up 39 cents a barrel at 75.62. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hankey at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Pluto, Jared Law, or Tyler Dosch at 913-748-3000.
When it comes to growing soybeans, you need an advantage. And with Zetavo soybean seed, you get a big one. 3.4 bushels per acre big. It's a yield advantage made possible by BASF genetics, proprietary germplasm, and industry-leading seed quality. Talk to your retailer today about staying ahead of the game with Zetavo soybean seed from BASF. Zetavo soybean seed.
When challenging conditions arise, we don't back down. We up our game. Outpacing the competition with innovations fueled by Bayer's R&D, keeping you equipped with an expanded portfolio, elite genetics, and additional local test plots. Channel leads the field, so you can rise above. See how you can save at channel.com/finance24. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, and cleaner American fuel. This message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Fraudsters are out to get your hard-earned money, but you can protect yourself by following 3 simple steps. 1, don't give your account number, card information, or online banking login credentials to anyone. 2, be cautious in responding to unexpected pop-up windows or text messages. And 3, watch your accounts. If you suspect that your bank information has been compromised, call your FNB Bank immediately. We are here to help you protect your hard-earned money. FNB Bank, member FDIC.
As summer fades in the rearview mirror, it's time to gear up for the upcoming school year. Make sure you're prepared for all the adventures ahead with a new or pre-owned vehicle from Vince's GM Center in Burlington. Whether you lead the carpool, transport the team's equipment, or simply want to ensure the safety of your student driver, Vince's offers the perfect vehicle at the right price to make this school year one for the books. Shop their large selection at vincesgmcenter.com or visit them at 1847 Rose Avenue. Vince's GM Center in Burlington, where they've been selling cars for over 40 years and making friends for life.
It's the Morning Blitz.
We're having a great time, couple of laughs, everything's nice.
Weekday mornings from 7 to 8 Mountain, 8 to 9 Central.
Minutes to the top of the hour here on Thursday. Got a couple more rainfall reports coming in from last night's shower. Listener Marshall had an 1.95 inches. So I think he's around the Oakley region. So said best rain in over a year from Marshall's perspective. So, and I don't know if anybody's seen the forecast, at least for the coming
5 days or so, but there's a lot of clouds with precipitation coming out of them at least according to the National Weather Service in Goodland. So hopefully we do. Hopefully it'll let me mow my lawn and then it can rain. Let me mow my lawn and then it can rain. I don't need to just be constantly wet so I can't mow my lawn. I need it to dry out for just a little bit. Let me mow it and then it can rain. That's what I need.
Colby could be getting some rain in a little bit here in a few hours, so watch out for that. If you are in the Colby area, yeah, some rain tomorrow as well for the area. We'll see.
Speaking last segment, we're talking about NFL joint practices. There is NFL football starts tonight with the NFL preseason and rolls through Monday. So 4 consecutive days of NFL football. You'll be able to watch, I know this is exciting, Carolina at New England tonight if you would like to watch them on the NFL Network.
Are you for real?
Would you rather watch that or Detroit at the Giants? I mean, I know you would rather watch
the joint practice or the game.
No, this is a game. These are games.
The game, obviously.
No. But would you rather watch if you have? So there's 2 games scheduled to be played tonight in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather watch Carolina and New England on NFL Network, or you can't watch Detroit and New York? But if you're the NFL Network, wouldn't you say Detroit, New York would be a better game than Carolina, New England? I mean,
yeah, really.
What are we watching? Bryce Young against Drake May, who's apparently looked awful. So Joe Milton is actually looking decent. I mean, that quarterback.
Joe Milton may be the greatest practice player of all time. He is now convinced Michigan, Tennessee, and the New England Patriots that he can play quarterback, and then he gets under center for a real game snap and it all falls apart. But he started for all 3 of those. Those are 2 of the most proud and high quality.
He is the ultimate practice player.
But yeah, at the end of the day, even as a Lions fan, I don't really care because come on. I mean, I'm going to see my starters for maybe a quarter. Realistically, I won't see Jared Goff play. I won't see Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's no point.
One more rainfall report before we move into the next topic. Just over a half inch in Atwood. Thank you to listener up in Atwood, unnamed texter. So the question I posed to begin the show, and then here we're going to get into segment 2. Once again, it's kind of a dumb question. At least Christian makes me feel like it's a dumb question, and that's fine. Would you rather bend the rules / cheat and win a championship, or keep your integrity and try and win one that way? That would be the question. Now, I do have to say on the FB Bank text line, 785-899-2222, Rob texted in. He said, integrity is everything, like a man's word. So Rob is on the train of integrity. So I try to look at it from my perspective. I always try to take a question and look at it from my perspective. So if, once again, I used to joke about this a lot with some people back home, but so if Nebraska wins a national championship in whatever sport, and it comes to find out that they, did it illegally by bending rules, in my word, I'd be really butthurt about it. I'd be pretty mad about it. I don't like that whatsoever. Yeah, it's great we won, but we had to bend the rules in order to do it. That makes me feel kind of sick. So that's how I kind of felt. Now, we used to have the joke because Nebraska basketball's never won an NCAA tournament game. They're the only Power 5 program that never do it. And I used to laugh. I said, if someone said what if Nebraska was pay, this is before, of course, the time we're in, but what if they're paying players, they're getting it legally and they still don't win? I said, that's a real kick in the shorts. You're trying to cheat and you still can't win. That's a real problem. That'd be an issue. So I guess I land on the integrity side. Even if I would rather do it the right way than cut corners and get it done that way, I guess. Now, by the way, I'm not trying to throw Christian or Michigan under the bus. This is not to do with that. It's just there's been a couple of incidents that this happened. I think it's interesting to hear. Jared, by the way, who's been texting us all morning. Thank you, Jared, on the FB Bank text line, just lighting up the text line. He says, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, which to an extent, I do agree with that a little bit. Where do you go? Where do you stand on this, amigo?
So let's go back 5 or 6 years to Mike Vrabel on a Barstool podcast. I don't know. It was Bussing with the Boys. They all sit in a bus and record a podcast with some old Taylor Lewan and some old NFL guys. And Mike Vrabel, head coach of the Tennessee Titans at the time, gets asked the question, for a Super Bowl, in exchange for you winning a Super Bowl as a coach, he has, I think, 3 as a player, would you cut off a very valuable part of your body that we'll say only men have? And he said yes, that he had been married for, I think, 20 years at the time. He was willing to part with that part of his body in exchange for a Super Bowl win. Now, 4 or 5 years later, Jared Goff in a Lions uniform, or as a Lion, goes on the same podcast. Now it's a Barstool podcast. Gets asked the same question.
Is this Bussin' with the Boys?
It is Bussin'. That's what I said. It's Bussin'
Okay,
with the Boys.
sorry. I misheard that.
He gets asked a similar question. Would you be willing to part with your manhood in exchange for a Super Bowl win? And he said something along the lines of, no, because I think even without doing that, I can still win one.
Yes.
I still have a chance to win one. I don't have to lose it. I believe in myself. And of course, integrity is absolutely the way to go. A man's word is a man's word. That's all he has. If he doesn't have that, what else can he rely on other than God? And which is important. There's no point in cheating to win, because you're not only cheating other people out of a win, you're cheating yourself. Because as a Michigan fan, I can tell you, it doesn't feel good. Now, this one's a little bit different because allegedly and potentially the cheating happened before and separate from the championship year and the championship win. So, in this particular case, it's more up for debate. However, in my mind, it hurts and it sucks, because for the first time in my life, not only were the Lions incredible, they've never even been good. But in the same year, Michigan football finally gets a playoff win, and I'll give it to you. That game against Alabama, that Rose Bowl, was one of the greatest college football games I've ever seen.
It was a good one.
But then they go around and they win pretty dominantly, and they have an undefeated season, and they're national champs. But somewhere deep in my heart of hearts, I know that it doesn't really feel like a true win, because we cheated to get there. Potentially, allegedly. But no, of course you want to lean on your integrity. And my initial reaction to Ross's question was, yeah, that's kind of dumb. Obviously, you rely on your integrity. You want to win by your own standards. But I will say, Jared on the text line is saying allegedly. The allegedly, to be clear, is the fact that they were under the microscope of the NCAA. The entirety of last season could not have cut any corners and still went undefeated and won. So my point being, it could be separated there, their cheating and their championship. But yeah, it does hurt. And at the same time, the obvious answer to Ross's question is integrity. And yet, look at Jim Harbaugh. These are all hypotheticals here. Hypothetically, Connor Stalions never comes to this team, and you never have that big whole cheating network, the whole scouting, everything. And let's say that year after COVID, with no Connor Stalions, you have a losing record. Let's even say you have a winning record, but you only win 9 games, 8 games, and Michigan lets you go. Because as a Michigan fan, I can tell you that year after COVID, you only win 8 games, you're probably getting let go. You were on the hottest of hot seats. You just went 2-4 in the COVID year and canceled that Ohio State game, put the tail between the legs. That's a sore spot. He was not too far from getting fired, but no, he turns around, has 10 wins, incredible season year after in the college football playoff. Now they're national champions. Is it all because of Connor Stalions? Of course not. But it sheds some light on the fact that you don't really know how to feel about those wins. And let's say they are all because of Connor Stalions. You're now a legend in Michigan lore. Whether the win gets stripped from you, whether the national championship ends up counting at all, whether they invalidate half of the wins that you had at that program, you're still a legend. Look at Jimmy Harbaugh right now. The people love him. Believe it or not, the large majority of college football fans, especially younger ones, are hoorah Jim Harbaugh. Does it make sense? Maybe not. But he's cemented himself in Michigan lore, whether he had anything to do with the cheating or not. And that kind of sucks, but it does give a devil's advocate point of view to the answer to Ross's question.
Text line getting lit up here by a couple of texters. I love that Jared has called me a Boy Scout. That's wonderful. And you're Letterkenny Christian.
Good show.
Love that. So, and also Jared big on allegedly talking about how, if you're allegedly, and he goes, integrity is everything, but how did he word that? I was trying to pull that up here on the text line. Let's see here.
He sent too many texts for his own good.
I know.
I'm just like,
here we go. I agree. Integrity is everything. But again, cheating is open to interpretation. If it's not specifically spelled out, then it's not cheating. Look, folks, I mean, if you're cutting corners and it's kind of allegedly, I mean, come on. We know Connor Stallions was on the sideline of Central Michigan. We know these things were going on. Once again,
idiotic.
Yes, that's a Michigan fan, by the way, saying that. So, I mean, these things are, that this is happening. So, anyway,
I would argue
Jenna from Colorado, big fan of, or says fan of the show. Good, our integrity is good. Yes, I would agree. True. Integrity is good.
I mean,
so yeah.
To me, it hurts more as a Michigan fan. Thank you, Jenna. Integrity is good, and so it hurts more to be wearing the maize and blue. And this is going to sound so hokey. You besmirched the Michigan good name. You dragged it through the mud. You got an indelible black mark on our program that you've got 3 to 4 years where nobody really cares if you won anything, because guess what? You may have cheated to do all of it.
Michael wants to know if Blake Corum was eligible last season. I mean, he played, so I'm guessing that means he was eligible, but was he truly eligible? I would assume he was, but what do I know? Here's what I believe. I believe most people who live in these parts of the world, your Midwestern people, whatever, kind of the center of America type people, I believe they would say, yes, integrity is more important. But I think if you kind of get further out where things might get a little bit more, you get on those coastlines and you'll be like, we're okay with cutting the corners a little bit to get what we need. I really do believe that. So anyway, let's get to our final break. Come back, wrap with a little bit of baseball. Also some good news for a regional volleyball team. That next here on the Morning Blitz.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, we have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-948-5880. So if you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, call now. Find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-948-5880 to speak with a live person now.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
The Farmers State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment, or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmers State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
Summertime is here, and so are your local Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware stores with anything and almost everything you need for these warm days. Give your place a new look with Benjamin Moore paints. Keep your lawn looking its best with mowers, blowers, and trimmers from Craftsman, Toro, and Ego. And they still have that amazing selection of outdoor grills from Traeger and Weber, plus the popular flat-top Blackstone griddles. Find it all and much more at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware with locations in Colby and Goodland. Open every day but Sunday.
The Chevy Summer Drive event is going on right now at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Right now, you can get a Chevy Silverado 1500 pickup with up to $5,750 of total rebates when you trade in an eligible vehicle, or get 1.9% financing on select 2023 and 24 model Chevrolets, plus no payments for 90 days. As always, go to hurlchev.com to schedule any service or check out what's on the lot. or just stop on by in South Goodland.
Ross Volkmer.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
Christian Peck-Dimit.
I can bench press a sentence.
It's the Morning Blitz.
It's so great to get Christian's reactions from these new liners that I have.
Did I really say that?
Yeah.
I could bench press a sentence.
I thought it was so perfect for you because we talk about bench pressing on this show.
You asked me about bench pressing. I don't think I've ever brought it up myself.
Oh, you talk about going to the weight room all the time. Got to go get a lift in. Got to go do this. So,
which I do.
I could bench press a sentence.
That's great. That's so good.
It's good. I love it. That's good stuff. Yesterday on the Diamond, the Royals do get a nice bounce back win and are able to at least salvage a game against the Red Sox. We talked about how important of a series it was for both teams in that wild card race in Kansas City. Salvaging a game keeps them at least a game and a half ahead. Otherwise, they would have just been a half game ahead of Boston at this point in time. So Boston still takes the cake because they took 2 out of 3 and closed that gap. But the Royals get a big 8-4 win. Bobby Witt Jr., unbelievable again. 3 for 4, 3 runs scored, 4 ribbies, 2 home runs, and a double. The guy is hitting .349 again. He's having just an unbelievable season. Vinny Pasquantino quietly having a really solid year, batting .270. He had another home run. Had another home run, his 17th of the season. He drove in 2. Those 2 guys have looked very, very good. Salvador Perez has been kind of hit and miss a little bit. Michael Massey's hit the ball well the last couple games at the top of the lineup. So the top of the order is getting it done. The bottom of the order maybe needs a little bit of work, but it's looking good for the Royals right now. 64-52, 8-4 win. They got the day off today. They will host St. Louis in the I-70 series up next. But the Royals are definitely in the thick of things, as we've said before, and it's just about trying to keep that pace at this point in time. As for the Rockies, they lose last night, final of 5-3. They were tied at 2 going into the top of the 9th. Victor Vodnik, who's been so good out of the pen for the Royals, gives up 3 runs on 3 hits. He also walked 2, takes the loss as the Mets win 5-3. There last night in Colorado. They have another game, wrap up that series this afternoon at 1:10 Mountain Time there at Coors Field. And also a shout out to the Arizona Diamondbacks. 17-5 in the last 22 games, baby. Woo! Hot.
Needed it.
Hot. Hot as that Arizona desert sun. My goodness, they are hot. Swept the Cleveland Guardians. You're welcome, Kansas City.
Yeah.
You are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just had to throw that out there. Too exciting. Too exciting. Let me tell you what.
A 3-run walk-off home run. A game-winning walk-off with a walk-off. His second walk-off hit of the season. In walk-off fashion. That baby's go.
Another text coming in from our listener, Jared, who's been all over the text line. Forget cheating by the Wolverines. Christian cheats on the Wolverines. I don't know what that means.
I think it's because I wore green one time on the show.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He won't let that go.
I've worn that shirt pretty consistently to the gym. So.
Where I bench press sentences.
Big log sentences, in all caps.
You have another update on the Olympics for us, Christian?
Of course we
Give us
do.
another quick update before I get to my volleyball news.
Yeah, the U.S. is still crushing it. 95 total medals and still the lead, though a slim one, in the golds department. 27 golds compared to China's 26. Of course, we talked earlier about Quincy Hall saying the 400 meters saw it needed a little bit of freedom and delivered. Also, golf going on now, the women's side. Nelly Korda -5 on the day after an even day yesterday. She's moved up into the top 5.
Korda playing great golf on the women's side, has for a while now.
Maybe
really
the
good.
best swing on the tour, men's or women's.
She's very good. And a shout out to KU Volleyball. They are picked as Big 12 conference favorites coming up for this upcoming season by the coaches poll. It's the first time ever that KU has been picked to be in the top spot. They have 3 preseason player of the year, including the freshman of the year, Zoe Burgess. K-State had 2 players named to the first season for the preseason team. They're picked to finish 7th, but they did get 1 first place vote. So we'll see how the volleyball comes out here this year. For Christian, I'm Ross. Thanks to all the listeners out there. We'll see you back here again on a fun Friday